Rates of college going among students with disabilities have increased steadily over the past few decades. However, not all well-qualified students with disabilities who could go to college do so. Why? I'm Ezekiel Kimball. I'm the Associate Director of the Center for Student Success Research at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. I'm also the Principal Investigator of a grant funded by the Massachusetts Inclusive Concurrent Enrollment Initiative. We did a large multi-institutional case study involving interviews with students, faculty, and staff. What we found were some explanations for why students with disabilities go to college at lower rates than their peers without disabilities. Higher education researchers typically use college-going models that include 3 stages: predisposition, search, and choice. However, in our work, we found that 2 additional stages are important for understanding the college-going of students with disabilities: transition and enrollment. Moreover, students with disabilities experience all the stages a bit differently than do peers without disabilities. Across all 5 of these stages, we found that effective messaging and support encourages college-going, while ineffective messaging and support inhibits it. The figure displayed on the screen shows our model for college-going among students with disabilities. We selected a subway map as our metaphor because it clearly conveys that it is possible to navigate the route to college in a linear fashion, but also that outcomes that move a student away from successful college-going are also possible, and perhaps even likely. By showing predisposition, search, choice, transition, and enrollment as part of a straight line, but also acknowledging that college-going process can go wrong at any step along the way, this model makes clear how difficult the process can be for students with disabilities without effective messaging and support. So how does it work, and how can it all go wrong? At the predisposition stage, students with disabilities consider messages about college-going that they have received from friends, family members, and teachers throughout their lives. Students in inclusive classrooms are more likely to have received ongoing messages about college-going as a normative assumption than those in special education classrooms. Many students with disabilities may also have taken to heart messages from popular culture that suggest that people with disabilities, particularly intellectual or emotional behavioral disabilities, are less capable than those without disabilities, and cannot or should not pursue higher education. These messages are wrong, but that does not make them any less harmful. It is possible to counter them with more positive messages, but it takes a lot of deliberate effort and support to do so. In the search phase, students with disabilities seek information about their post-high school options. This process includes considering possible alternatives to higher education, such as employment or joining the armed services. Students with disabilities may also consider the on- and off-campus availability of disability-related supports as part of their search process. However, at present, most colleges and universities do far too little to assist in this process. Better information from school counselors or more proactive outreach from colleges and universities would help ensure equitable access to information needed in the search phase. When students with disabilities make college-going choices, they weigh the information that they have about their disability as well as the colleges and universities that they might attend. Their decisions sometimes seem very similar to those of peers without disabilities, and sometimes are based on disability-specific considerations, such as the availability of medical resources or proximity to family support networks. Once students make a college choice, they enter the transition phase, during which students with disabilities begin the concrete activities of participation in higher education. For example, they might select classes, attend orientation, or figure out how to pay their tuition bill. As they do these things, they receive messages about how welcome or unwelcome students with disabilities are on campus. Institutions do not likely intend to send many of these messages, particularly the negative ones. But how they structure support for students with disabilities across all the things college students are expected to do prior to and during enrollment has profound influences on their transitions. Finally, at the stage of enrollment, students arrive on their new campus and attend classes for the first time. All students are at increased risk for dropout during their first few weeks of college, but this risk is greater for students with disabilities. Many may leave college and never return, while others end up transferring or enrolling later in life. For students with disabilities, finding supportive peers, faculty, and staff members can help make the enrollment process more successful. College going is not an easy task for any student. Many things have to align in order for it to go well. Students must meet academic standards, navigate a variety of entrance exams, figure out how to apply for financial aid, find a college or a university that is a good fit, solve institutional obstacles to enrollment, and display persistence once enrolled. For students with disabilities, that is even harder. Not only do they receive less messaging about the college-going process than their peers, They also get different information about where they should apply and the process for doing so. Families would be well served by beginning college-going discussions early with children with disabilities. High schools should think about how to reach all students, including those with disabilities, with messages about college going. And colleges and universities should recognize that college going is a process that needs to start in high school, particularly for students with disabilities. By recognizing the complexity of the college going process for students with disabilities, and being more intentional about the messaging, support, and communication they receive, we can help to produce more equitable college going outcomes. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's presentation, please find the other videos in this series, or visit us at studentsuccessresearch.org, or follow us on Twitter at UMassCSSR.